Hello, I'm Jane Sparrow, founder at The Culture Builders and author of a number of books, including the remote working edition of The Bank of Me. During our work, we do a huge amount on remote working as part of culture, and over the last few weeks have been working with all sorts of businesses and teams, helping them think through and make sure that everybody makes remote working work. Now, as part of that, at the end of webinars, I've been getting lots and lots of questions, and we put out a call also for other people to give us their questions for me to answer. So this is a short piece of some of those questions and some answers for you that are common and that you've sent in. So I'm going to answer a few. Let's get going. So first one I was asked is, how can I maintain focus when there are so many distractions around the house? So this may well resonate with some of you. Now, there are huge numbers of distractions anywhere, anytime when we're working, but when we're at home and when we are, rapidly at home, like we have been with COVID-19, there are distractions in terms of people. There are distractions perhaps in terms of family members or flatmates or children. There are also more spatial distractions, perhaps that someone has the lawnmower going and that's going in your ear, or there might be other distractions going on where you're limited to space, or you're next to the washing machine and that keeps distracting you because you want to go and put another load in. There's also technology distraction, and this is huge. Not only with remote working, but when you're in the office as well, with the phone that pings or the instant messenger that comes up on screen. And I was coaching only this morning where I could see that the person was every now and then on the video call getting distracted by the instant messenger box. So we agreed just to turn it off. So all of these different distractions. So how we get control of them is by doing exactly that, turning off the pop-ups, the instant messengers, when you're on a video call with someone, so you can really give them your true focus. Better to do less time with somebody, but quality time, rather than longer time where you're both completely distracted. The other thing in terms of distractions around you are, have a conversation with the people around you about how you're going to make it work. So perhaps you agree certain amounts of time, like half an hour now where I'm going to work without distraction. If perhaps you've got headphones, put those on as a little sign that you don't want to be disturbed. Harder with young children, absolutely, but where you've got older children or other members of the family, a conversation can really work. Another question I've been asked is, what's the best way to stay connected with the team when we're all remote? So I know, lots and lots of people have started Team Connection, and our experience in Hong Kong and China over the last 4 months with COVID-19, where everyone's remote working, is that there's lots that starts. So teams are great at the beginning about having a gin den or wine o'clock or a virtual pub quiz. But over time, the challenge is that often it starts to diminish once the kind of the excitement around that wavers. So I would say the big thing here is keep the connection going socially with the team, but make sure you've got something in on a regular basis. And this applies even if we were remote working, 3 or 4 months ago. It's making sure that you have things that connect you as a team. So doing plenty that means that you see each other, that you have a chance just to talk about how you're feeling and what's going on in life, rather than always about the task at hand. We had one team the other day where we were facilitating a session, and we were rotating it among that team to bring a different activity each time. And so the session the other day had a bit of origami making within it. So plenty that you can work with when it comes to social time and social connection. Really important for that team connection. Okay, let's have another little look here about another one that's come through. So another one here is, how do I help at my team, or how do I help my colleagues be aware of how people are feeling? So this is a whole area around emotions and managing your own emotions, managing others' emotions that we do a huge amount in. And again, when you look at the curve with the situation we're in right now, what we often find, or what we have found, is that at week 4 or 5 of lockdown is when people start to get more anxious and more frustrated. And so therefore, as a colleague or as a leader, being aware of that and being really intentional about helping others to be able to talk about how they're feeling and work through that with them is really, really important, because it might be that today I'm feeling positive and in good spirits, but then by Tuesday, maybe a member of my family has been taken ill. Or maybe I've been working on something, and because we weren't communicating as well, because we're not in the office, I hadn't realised I'm duplicating effort and now I'm frustrated. So really important to constantly check in. How are people feeling? And don't just ask, how are you feeling? Mix it up a bit. So I asked somebody yesterday, how are you feeling physically? And of course, what that person said was, well, gosh, actually, good question. I haven't moved for 3 hours because I've been on video calls. And so we just paused and we literally just had a bit of a stretch and allowed ourselves 3 minutes just to go and do something physical, which for that person was walking up and down the stairs a few times. But it meant the quality of our conversation was so much better, just as a result of asking, how do you feel physically? Now, when it comes to physical, another question I've got here, so there's a good link here, is how do I get up and move and make sure I'm physiologically healthy during this period where I am remote working? And this is a huge one for many people, where suddenly the day has become longer because there's so many different dimensions to juggle. The thing that often goes is anything physical for you. Now, I know if you're watching this and you have children, you may well have been doing the Joe Wicks workout at 9 o'clock UK time each day. I have been doing it too. Unfortunately, I forgot that I'm not 9 years old anymore, and so got a little bit overexcited with my froggy jumps, and I'm now having to take a little break from physical activity. But there are lots of things out there that you can do. And if you've got a family, then it's a good opportunity maybe to do something physical together each day, so that it gives you that space where you're connecting if the rest of the day you're interacting with your colleagues virtually. Don't forget as well, physiological things aren't just about movement and exercise, they're also around things like food, and making sure that your healthy snacks that you might be using as a reward when you're working are healthy snacks and not chocolate or anything unhealthy. So there we go. So I'm going to pick up one more. How can we switch off from work better at the end of the day? How do we create separation? So this is a big one I've been picking up when I've been coaching, because for many high performers, what they have noticed is that their working day is longer. They might be starting earlier, maybe taking a break during the day, but then going on much longer in the evening. And I was talking to someone only on Friday who said to me, I can't come on video with you, Jane, because it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm still in my pajamas. And this was a very senior executive in a company. And I said, look, it's your coaching session. If you want to be in your pajamas, that's absolutely fine. I'm actually sat here in my gym kit. So, we're about even. But what we were talking about was the fact that often this person is getting to 9, 10 o'clock at night and still has not really moved from the desk. And this is not uncommon with remote working. So what we have to be really good at is putting in our own break points and creating a schedule and keeping to it where we are in control of how we're working. And that we do put in a break point and say, this is the end of the day unless somebody needs me urgently. And maybe making sure that teammates are aware of that, because maybe someone else is working 6 till 8 in the evening as a stint because they had to take off a childcare break during the day. So really having the conversation together as a team about how you're going to work is critical, but then making sure that you've all got break points in so that you take breaks and you have a cut-off time where after that it's contact me if it's urgent. And don't forget, therefore, not just to crawl away from your laptop or your screen and straight into bed, but to have a bit of separation time where you do something for you that's going to quieten you down, whether that's something like yoga, whether it is reading a book, whether it's catching up perhaps with a friend on the phone that gives you positive energy, but something that's going to make sure that you wind down, your brain has a chance to calm before you get into bed to have that all-important sleep. So there are a few areas that I've been asked and some of your questions that have come in. I hope they're useful. There's of course lots more in the book. That's what the book's designed to do, is give you plenty of tips and answers to some of these questions. But I hope that's given you a good starter for 10 on some of the areas that are on many people's mind right now. Thank you for listening.